Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be checking out SCIZOR lead. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in yesterday's video, but I was talking about how I really wanted to run SCIZOR lead. A lot of people were disrespecting it, and you will see in this video that my assumptions were correct. We actually dabbled with a few other teams before we landed on this team, but this one seemed to go on a pretty good run. We actually climbed a little over 100 elo, so I'll definitely take that. But yeah, let's get right into these battles and check out what SCIZOR lead can do. We're running Cradily on the safe swap and Gastrodon with Earth Power in the back. Alright, we see a SCIZOR lead. Honestly, I really don't mind this. This thing has coverage into my entire team, and as you can see by my IVs, I actually have a pretty high attack SCIZOR, so I usually don't lose the cap tie. This opponent is playing it really scarily though. They are playing the cap tie to the very end, and we do win that, so they kind of bit themselves in the foot there. We are able to take switch advantage. They bring in a Typhlosion, so I throw one bullet punch and I swap out. I want to make sure I can save my my SCIZOR in the back just in case I need it. Maybe there's a Cradily back there or something like that. But they bring in Typhlosion. We do have to shield the first blast burn, but now that we've debuffed them, we can comfortably come in with Gastro, get a little bit of an energy lead for the back line, and see what we can do. So Typhlosion swaps out. We actually swap in SCIZOR into this Gator. Honestly, not the best play. I probably could have stayed in and thrown the Body Slam first, and then just forced the Gator to throw energy against the SCIZOR. But either way, this plays out the same. We farm down the Gator all the way, and we have a Body Slam ready. Alright, I'm fighting against one of my subscribers here, Scotty G. Really scary lead. Fortress is a really big problem for this team. You mostly neutralize it with SCIZOR in the lead, but you can't really come with Cradily to farm it down, so it's a bit of a tricky matchup. My opponent does farm up right before the second Night Slash. They throw the Rock Tomb, see what I want to do, if I want to shield or not. I'm always going to shield at least the first. They actually Sand Tomb here just to pick up the early knockout, which honestly is super fair. I'm going to come in with Gastro, get an energy lead, and they have a Cradily. So I'm going to throw in this Earth Power just for a little bit of chip and dip. And they don't shield that. So at this point, I can play to the cap tie on the second move. So it's going to be a cap tie, a coin flip, and we win that flip. That's actually pretty useful for us, right? We don't get debuffed again, and we still have quite a bit of health on this Cradily. That means that we can get to a move onto this Fortress. They actually Sand Tomb, which doesn't knock out, so I'm just going to bank the Rock Tomb at this point. They bring in Kingdra, and dude, this is why we have Earth Power, but for some reason, I was just cracking up that I was fighting a subscriber because it's so cool. So instead of full sending the Earth Power, I actually like cap tie on a Swift, which again, this is really stupid. I shouldn't have done that. Thankfully though, we can still farm this all the way down. We have a move banked on Cradily, so we were still kind of fine that game, but yeah, big misplay by me. Okay, we got Gator lead, a little bit tricky. This Pokemon can farm us all the way down in the 2s, so we're going to throw this Night Slash, see if we can force down both shields before them, since we do win the cap tie, or maybe they'll try to make a catch. Let's see here on the Night Slash. It looks like they're staying in. They're trying to go for the full farm down since they didn't cap tie there, so I'm just going to swap in Gastro, try to put in some damage into this thing. They actually don't chip and dip, they just bring Quack right away, and they throw an alignment. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I might be able to get rid of this Quag, which honestly, it's not really like a problem for my team, but the less Pokemon they have and the more Pokemon I have, I think the better this game can go. We actually get a defense drop there, not that it really matters. We still have to throw the Body Slam. Gator can come in, but at this point, I think I'm just going to get a Dilly farm down. And they have a U-Fisk in the back. Yeah, we were kind of predicting they were a little bit, they had an electric type back there, and we kind of read that properly, saving our Dilly for the back line. Okay, Gastrodon lead. Not amazing. We do have the mirror here. We actually throw right away. And this was a cap tie. I don't know what really happened in the game there. If I like lagged out in the beginning or something like that. But for some reason that was a cap tie, which it shouldn't have been. So maybe my opponent thought that it wasn't the move yet. So I feel a little bit bad for them because they no shield that and they get one shot. We do allow the farm down to happen with our SCIZOR. I really don't want my Cradily on this thing. And they catch our Earth Power on Lickitung. We get the defense drop too, so this is going to set up a really nice farm down after this Rock Tomb lands. I don't really have to shield anything from this Licky, especially now that it's a attack drop. So we can just acid this all the way down, I believe. Yeah, dude, that's massive. And now we have all this energy for the fortress. Even if the fortress throws energy and just gets rid of her Cradily, at this point, they're just going to be too debuffed that we can mud slap them down with Gastrodon. I think my opponent's win con there was to go for the full Bug Bite down, but even then, it was going to be a really tough game for them to win. So we take that game. Pretty good stuff. On to the next game, we got Deratrix in the lead. This Pokemon is practically the new Jumpluff. It's a really, really scary Pokemon to see, but to be fair, it is really nice to see it in the lead, so we're kind of chilling here. It looks like 2 Night Slashes should knock out. And my opponent doesn't really farm up. They just throw the Seed Bomb for some chip and dip. I know SCIZOR is squishy, but that is a double resisted move, and it's a really weak move, so we don't really have to shield that. Unfortunately, I take a little long to swap into my Gastro here, so I can't get the full farm down before they get to a second Hydro Cannon, so I have to throw my energy. This Dartrix can farm us all the way down, but they are going to pay a heavy price. They're going to take a lot of damage from that body slam, and honestly, the Mud Slaps weren't doing no damage, so I will take that. It looks like this should be on double Bullet Punch range. They swap out. There's the Stun Fisk in the back, and that's just a GG. Once again, saving Cradily for the backline has been proven pretty useful lately. A lot of people trying to run ground in the back. It's not really working out for them. So this team has a lot of play here. Honestly, Ufisk in the back for my opponent here, just practically no play. They really needed this Pokemon on my SCIZOR, and even my SCIZOR doesn't really have a terrible matchup against it. So yeah, it looks like my opponent is just going to try to play it all the way out here. They try for a catch on the Dartrix. It doesn't work out. We're able to land this grass now. We don't really need to shield anything with the Cradily ever. And now we can just outpace to the Night Slash. So GG's to my opponent there. I know they did want to play it all the way out there, since that's the only way you get your medals for the challenge, the GBL challenge, but okay. Charge Bug lead, not great. I'm gonna do 1 Bullet Punch and swap into Cradily. I don't want to shield this SCIZOR because they are staying in, so I was thinking maybe they were trying to chip and dip. It looks like they're a little bit weaker to Cradily than I thought, so I might actually shield the second one, which isn't very optimal. You always want to shield the first one since it's the one that's going to do the most damage, but regardless, we do burn the clock quite a bit there, about 30 seconds I would say. And they bring in Dartrix, so this means that I can swap in my SCIZOR, outpace this Dartrix to a move, and just completely neutralize it for my Gastro in the back. And they actually bring in Starmie. That's so weird. I was so confident they would bring in Charge Bug here, but for some reason they bring in Starmie, which definitely has a worse matchup against SCIZOR. It looks like his entire team kind of had play into SCIZOR, but now that they swap in Charge Bug, I can just swap in Gastro, farm up to the back-to-back body slams. 2 SCIZORs are not really going to knock out. So I could just throw 1 body slam into this Charge Bug, another body slam into the Dartrix, and we're pretty much set. We can throw 2 Mud Slaps in the move so we don't take that second Volt Switch. Not that it would matter really. We land this body slam here. Dartrix is going to get, the Starmie is going to get a little bit of energy, but we can just knock out with the Night Slash we banked, and that's a GG. Yeah, pretty tricky plays for my opponent there, but okay, I'll take it. Once again, another Fortress lead. Very complicated thing to see in the lead here. I really don't like it, but if I can neutralize this with my SCIZOR, I'll call it a win. Problem is they're usually pretty weak to SCIZOR in the backline, so I would like to save my SCIZOR, but I really can't. I'm going to throw my Night Slash here, kind of a misplay. They usually never shield here since you're debuffed, but I do force them to throw energy pretty early here. My problem is I probably should have come in with Gastro here, just because this farm down is going to be so impossible. My opponent actually traps me into a CMP tie here, which is absolutely abysmal for me. I'm not really seeing a good way to win this game, and yeah, they just have Cradily in the back. They've completely RPS'd us. So GG's to my opponent there, I guess, but I did misplay that quite a bit. Here's my Cargo lead, so we're going to throw 1 Bullet Punch and swap. They bring in a Bomb of Snow, and I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I think I'm just going to play for shield advantage. I'm going to force a shield with this Rock Tomb. whether they want it or not. My SCIZOR's just going to wall this energy, and it's going to be debuffed, so I don't really need to shield anything. We're getting rid of this for our Gastrodon, which is really good. I feel like my opponent might have figured that out because they swapped back in the Macargo. But at this point, we can farm this thing all the way down. I'm trying to maybe shield an overheat on this one. My opponent wisely goes for the double Rock Tomb, but I have to respect the overheat here. I was thinking they'd bring Abomasnow right away, but they don't. They actually bring in Charjabug. They bring in their ground type into, their electric type into our ground type, which is super confusing to me. We actually get a defense buff there, so that's really good for the bullet punch down. I actually throw my move right away here, thinking they would try to like cap tie us, and they don't. So a little bit of a misplay by me. I thought they had back-to-back moves here, but they didn't. So we're able to farm them down, throw the Night Slash against the Abomasnow, which I believe was still not going to get to a move regardless, even if we bullet punch down. But yeah, my opponent played that so weird that it made me start playing it really weird as well at the end there. Another Macargo lead. This one's actually on Ember though, so they actually land an Ember into us because we try to do the cheeky single bullet punch and swap technique. This one actually does overheat us as well, but thankfully we don't shield since there's a Ferrothorn in the back. This thing walls our entire energy, so I'm glad we didn't shield. And they throw instantly. So now that they're debuffed, I can just bring in SCIZOR here, give it plenty of use, get rid of a counter for my Gastrodon, and I just hope that Gastrodon can sweep in the back. At this point, I can survive any move from this Ferrothorn. They actually throw on alignment, so the more bullet punch damage I get, the better. And I actually have a Trailblaze banked, so hopefully that can be some use here. They actually swap in their Gastrodon after throwing an Ember, so I want to throw my Body Slam as soon as I get it, so I can deny them that Mud Slap sneak, right? Once I denied them that Mud Slap sneak, the game was pretty much won. Especially after we landed that Body Slam that they let go. They knew it was a Body Slam, they knew it wasn't a Water Pulse, but as soon as we got that chip damage, we were kind of guaranteed the Mud Slap down. We can get an Earth Power into this Macargo and force their last shield. And honestly, after taking all these Mud Slaps, this Macargo is pretty much done for. Even if they have back-to-back moves here, which they don't, we do have the Trailblaze, and this should comfortably knock out the Macargo. SCIZOR is a Macargo counter confirmed. On to the next match here against Lucky Bear. Ooh, we have an amazing lead here. We just get rid of this Wigglytuff. They actually bring in Girafarig, which is not a counter to SCIZOR by any means. So I'm going to chip and dip here. I'm going to bring in my Cradily, catch a Psychic Fangs if I can. And at this point, I really just need shield advantage, right? I need to save my SCIZOR for the backline no matter what. I'm pretty confident I can either take double shields, which I can totally win with, or bring back alignment to myself. They actually bring in Fortress here, and this is just cookie cutter, right? I bring in my Gastrodon, nothing's really gonna one-shot. They don't farm up to an Earthquake either, so I don't have to respect this at all. I throw my Earth Power, and good catch by them. They actually catch on Wigglytuff, but this just gives more farm to my SCIZOR. I still have 2 shields. I can get to the double Night Slash against Fortress, and that's a GG. Senpai heal me in the next match. Okay, we got the Gator lead once again. I believe this Gator actually no shields the first Night Slash, which is pretty wise because they will survive to get to the second. Unless we boost. So now that we boost, we actually farm down this Gator in 4 bullet punches before they get to their next Hydro Cannon. And we're just in a magnificent spot here. This Gastro can feel free to no shield this Night Slash, but it is double boosted, so they shield. We bring in Cradily just to get a little bit of movement going on. I fear that they might be weak to SCIZOR in the back, which is why they didn't swap out. Lo and behold, there's a Wigglytuff. So I guess Cradily kind of had to play into that entire team. This team is extremely weak to Cradily, which I'm very surprised by because, Cradily is kind of everywhere in this meta. They just fully let their Wigglytuff go, and now that we have a health advantage on our own Gastro, we don't really need to shield any of this. I believe our SCIZOR can still get to a Night Slash if it has to. But either way, we're just gonna throw the Body Slam here. If they no shield, we farm down. If they shield, we throw the next, and that's a GG. On to the next match here, we get Girafarig lead. This is actually quite scary. As you can see, these confusions are doing about as much as my bullet punches. But it looks like we should be able to farm this all the way down after they throw one move. So I believe my opponent should swap out here. Okay, they don't. We get the full farm down. We have shield advantage. They bring in a Kingdra. Unfortunately, we are defense debuffed, so they will get this farm down a little easier. I'm going to swap into my Cradily. I fear I might have made a mistake here, though. I'm thinking, okay, well, this is a non-shadow Kingdra, so I can probably tank this Outrage pretty comfortably. Unfortunately, though, this is exactly what my opponent needed to win the game, since they have a freaking Razor Leaf Victory Bell. We still have a sliver of a win con here. I come in with SCIZOR, try to get some bullet punch damage. If we can get the Mud Slap down in this Mud Slap that's snuck, we win this game. We don't. Yeah, Victory Bell lives on 1 HP. If they actually got knocked out by that Mud Slap, we have a Body Slam for the backline. We can just take the knockout. But unfortunately, we do not beat that very toxic backline team there. Okay, this trainer. I don't think anyone told this trainer that SCIZOR is a Pokemon in Pokemon Go, especially in the Summer Cup. So you'll see that they're staying in with Crustle here. I know this is just an X-Scissor, but I'm thinking, hey, who stays in? And who still stays in here? They must not have an answer to SCIZOR. What do they bring in? They bring in Jellicent. Jellicent is by no means a SCIZOR counter, especially up energy. They shield the first Trailblaze, and I'm going like, okay, you know what? I'm going to double shield my SCIZOR here. I want to see the last Pokemon. So we throw the Trailblaze right here. They catch it on Cradily, and we can just farm this thing all the way down, come out with a Night Slash, knock out the Jellicent. And that opponent did not even see our second or our third Pokemon. So GG's there. I stay in here because I'm thinking maybe this Charizard has Dragon Breath, which would be a pretty decent matchup, but they're on Ember, so we have to swap out. They bait us with the Air Cutter, which is based, and they bring in a Toedscruel here. I'm going to go for the Rock Tomb first, and then I'll start going for the Grass Knots. Maybe I can farm this all the way down. Grass Knot is neutral, Rock Tomb is resisted. There is an argument to be made that maybe I should have just doubled Grass Knot, but as you'll see after this damage lands, it wouldn't have quite two-shot anyways. So at least here I can maybe bank a move, snipe, which is what we try to do. Now I'm just thinking about a win con here. We do have a Rock Tomb bank on Cradily. I'm trying to force a shield from this Charizard. They have a lot of energy though. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to bring in Gastro right away because they'll probably try to cap tie my Cradily. And they do. They Air Cutter, they try and cap tie it Cradily. I'm thinking, okay, at this point, I can farm this all the way down with a Mud Slap, which I do, but it's a Cradily in the back. Once again, we get hard countered throughout the entire game, really. But we definitely made some good plays there. We had a bit of a shot. Maybe if we double Grass Knot the Toedscruel and we actually take that knockout, the game could have gone in a different direction. But unfortunately for us, that was not the case. On to the next battle. We're fighting a SCIZOR. This SCIZOR is 1468 CP. I was a little bit afraid I would actually lose the cap tie, but that CP is so inefficient, I doubt we ever could. So we do win the cap tie there. We keep going against this SCIZOR. They'll probably catch, but I can't take that risk. And they do. They catch on a Gastrodon. This is totally fine by us. We have a Cradily. We can deal with this perfectly here. Whether they want to land a move or not, that's fine by me. I don't really have to shield anything here. I'm just getting rid of this Gastrodon. And if SCIZOR comes in, they're going to take a Rock Tomb as well. So we're going to overfarm severely here just so we can give that SCIZOR the least amount of farm and force him to throw energy right away, which they do. So we can come in with Gastro, farm this thing down, and they have Cradily in the back. I still have quite a bit of health on my SCIZOR, right? So I'm just going to keep farming here, try to play to the cap tie here. My opponent wisely actually overfarms a little bit. They know that I'm going to play to the cap tie against them, so I actually miss out on one bullet punch of damage, which is pretty severe. Right here, I'm trying to watch for a catch, but my opponent isn't really trying to catch, so I just throw the Body Slam right away and Mud Slap down the SCIZOR there. So a little bit tricky endgame, but as you can see here, we end the day at 2166, which is, I believe, 130 elo higher than our placement yesterday. So pretty good for us. I'll definitely take that. But yeah, we did see quite a bit of tricky Pokemon. Once again, people are really disrespecting SCIZOR in this meta, so feel free to run it and let me know what you think. Without further say though, let's check out the question of the day, see what we got for you guys today. All right, so the question of the day is, which cup are you most excited for? I'm actually pretty excited to try out the Master League. I'm actually terrified of how quick Palkia is going to be. 9 turns to Aquatails in the Master League. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. I bet you actually put in so much work into Sation now. It's not even funny. So you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think? Once again, my socials are up there. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, X, TikTok. I stream on Twitch every single day. I stream all my battles there. So feel free to come by and check it out. And with anything left to say, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.